little cameras. Okay, you want a little sound? All right, mark it.
All right, Ken
Ready?
Seagren.
Can you talk about when the Colorado film industry was booming?
When the Colorado film industry was what? Started the business in '74. There wasn't even a C-stand in Colorado. Just walking down the street, there was a little sign on the window for sale. So I walked in and talked to the guy, and he had a regional paint warehouse, and it's a big building. We bought the building, put a lot of money into it, hit 3 stages there, and worked a lot of films through that building. By the late 80s, things really got going. Viacom really decided they liked Colorado. We were doing like Perry Mason, Father Dolly, one of the Die Hard films. Those shows were running consistently at the same time. So we had probably 300 people working all year in the film industry. It was the boom time for production in Colorado. In the early 90s, Canada created a film incentive. Toronto and Vancouver really took off, and all this production that was going on in the US, they disappeared. The incentive process in Canada was so attractive that they called it runaway production. It was all going to Canada. And we've never really had an incentive, a viable incentive here in Colorado. I had to sell the building because I couldn't afford to keep that building anymore because of the lack of work.
Can you talk about a time when the Colorado industry was booming?
I cannot. I was at the Cherokee location at the end. It was essentially the hub of the industry. It was kind of centrally located in Denver, so it made it real nice for everybody after a job to kind of, stop by and kind of hang out there for a little bit. It was the end of the bigger jobs. We used bigger fixtures, bigger crews, bigger show. For my, 15 years, 16 years, something like that, it's all been fairly small stuff. Occasionally there'll be a big commercial come through, but even the features that we do get aren't large.
The work locally in Denver is largely commercial based. Commercials have to happen whether or not they want to shoot here.
There doesn't seem to be quite enough work to support the crew base that operates here.
It's either going to be really busy or not busy at all, and some people are going to have a busy year while other people aren't.
There's just not a lot of work. We're not competitive incentive-wise with other states, particularly New Mexico, which is right next door.
Because of Bill Richardson creating a tax incentive, their work it exploded. It just grew and grew every year.
A tax incentive or a rebate is a lure to induce film companies to come to shoot in your state. What it is the state will give you money to come and shoot your project here. You could get up to 20% back if you shot in Colorado. Other states have 25 or 35%. So Colorado is not first on that list, and it's not first on anybody's list, really. The tax incentives now are going to be $5 million, which is a restoration of what was before. Arizona is putting $300 million in 2023, 24, and 25. New Mexico, I think, was up to $195. Oklahoma is $30 million. Montana has $18 million. Utah is kind of a laggard, but Colorado lags behind Utah. How is that possible?
The problem is they play around with it so much that there's no guarantee that from year to year that incentive is even going to be there. So nobody's going to commit to, say, doing anything episodic here.
The legislature has to approve an incentive that's workable and viable.
That's the thing. In order to be competitive, we must have a consecutive year's funding. We need to have more than $5 million because, great, that's a hobby that the state is, oh yeah, we're in the film industry. Well, no, you're not. You got a hobby, and it's not even an expensive hobby by industry standards.
I think for the general public, it brings a lot of money into a state and doesn't require a lot of infrastructure to do that.
Ask Telluride. After Hateful Eight was there, that's the tire shop up there. They definitely benefited from a large production like that.
There was a film here a year ago. It was called Elevation. The total budget, I think, was $80 million for the whole show, but they spent $40 in the state of Colorado. It requires hardware stores and paint stores, car rental, airlines, hotels, restaurants. It's not limited to one specific thing. It spreads out over the whole economy.
Film matters. Colorado must support our creatives and our film industry, and we must do it today.
It's going to take a concerted effort. Everybody's got to get involved. You can't just sit back and hope. It requires, beating down the doors of your legislators and really pushing to get those incentives in place. Your livelihood is directly tied to that.
We, the people, control the legislator. They work for us. And if you don't like what they're doing, regardless of what it is, tell them so.
If you're involved in the film industry in any way, it should be paramount, in your thoughts in regard to this industry.
Please read the title to House Bill 1358.
House Bill 1358 concerning the film incentive income tax credit and connection therewith making an appropriation.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1358.
The motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 1358. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1358 is adopted. Mr. Hubler, please read the title of House Bill 1175.
Question is $5 million a year really anything? And so it's one of those things that's like, if we want to do this, if we want to become a state that competes with a Georgia, for example, or a California, for example, something like this, then perhaps we really ought to make it a priority and put an amount in that will actually make a difference.